Years have passed since the fall of Chilled, and Planet Sadala has changed. The scars of invasion still cut across its mountains and valleys, but the Saiyan colony no longer lives like a hidden tribe. Under Elder Renzo's guidance, the warriors of Sadala rebuild their walls, forge new training grounds, and prepare for the day another tyrant looks toward their world. Kakarot, now older and stronger, stands on the same cliff where his life changed so many times before. Beside him is Caulifla, fierce as ever, her arms crossed as she watches their young son Bardock throw wild punches at a stone training dummy. The boy is still small, but every strike carries frightening power, enough to crack the stone with his bare fists. Caulifla grins proudly, but Kakarot watches with quieter eyes. Bardock's potential is incredible, maybe even greater than his own was at that age. But after facing Chilled, Kakarot understands something he never did as a child. Power is not just freedom. Power is also a target. Since the battle with Chilled, Kakarot has avoided using Super Saiyan 3 unless absolutely necessary. The form is monstrous, but its cost is brutal. It tears through stamina, strains his body, and leaves him vulnerable once the golden storm fades. Renzo warns him often. "A warrior who burns all his strength in one flame dies when the flame goes out." Far beyond Sadala's system, a damaged black box drifts through space. It is the last surviving record from Chilled's flagship, carrying fragments of battle data, broken images of golden-haired Saiyans, and one final message from Chilled himself. Eventually, the signal is found by soldiers of the Frieza force. When Lord Frieza sees the footage, his smile vanishes. On the screen, Kakarot's golden form tears through Chilled's army. Then, the image freezes on the child training beside him, a young Saiyan named Bardock. Frieza's red eyes narrow. He remembers that name. Bardock was the low-class Saiyan who stood against him in the final moments of Planet Vegeta. Frieza does not rage. He does not panic. Instead, he laughs softly. "So, the monkey's bloodline survived after all. How irritating." But this time, Frieza does not plan to make Chilled's mistake. He will not charge into a Saiyan world blindly. He will study them. He will break them. Then he will erase Sadala the same way he erased Vegeta. Weeks later, a burning scout ship crashes into Sadala's outer wasteland. Kakarot, Caulifla, and Kale arrive first, finding the wreck half buried in black glass. Inside, the dying pilot whispers only one warning. "Frieza knows." Then the pilot's scouter sparks to life, projecting a flickering image of Planet Vegeta exploding beneath a massive death ball. Kakarot stands frozen as the image plays. For the first time, he sees the truth of where he came from. Planet Vegeta did not simply vanish, it was murdered. His people were slaughtered. And somewhere in that fire, his real father died, buying him a future he never knew he had. Renzo tells him what little he knows. He had found Kakarot as a baby in a space pod, but the pod's records were damaged beyond repair. He never knew the boy's origin, only that fate had delivered him to Sadala. Kakarot says nothing for a long moment. Then he looks towards his son, Bardock, and realizes the name he gave him was not just instinct. It was blood remembering blood. Caulifla expects rage from him. She expects the golden aura to explode around his body. But Kakarot only clenches his fists and breathes. That scares her more than anger would have. His fury is there, deeper than ever, but now it is controlled, focused, waiting.
Frieza's fleet arrives 3 days later. Hundreds of ships surround Sadala's moons, blocking the light of the twin suns. The sky darkens beneath metal shadows, and Frieza's voice descends over the planet like poison. Saiyans of Sadala, how touching!
Another world of monkeys pretending they have a future. Kakarot steps onto the colony wall with Caulifla at his side, Kale behind them, and the warriors of Sadala gathered below. Frieza's image appears in the clouds through a massive projection. He smiles when he sees Kakarot. Kakarot, son of Bardock! I destroyed your first home before you could remember it. Now I will destroy your second while you watch. The words hit Kakarot like a blade. But before he can answer, Caulifla grabs his wrist. Her voice is low and sharp. Don't let him pull you apart. That's what he wants. Kakarot looks at her, then at Bardock standing behind Renzo, frightened but trying to look brave. Slowly, Kakarot nods. The first wave of Frieza Force soldiers descends, but these are not ordinary troops. Their armor is lined with ki-draining plates created from Child's recovered battle data. When the Saiyans transform, the armor absorbs part of their golden energy, weakening their output and forcing them to burn stamina faster. Caulifla charges first, erupting into Super Saiyan 2 as lightning snaps around her body. She tears through the invaders with vicious speed, but even she feels the drain when their weapons lock onto her aura. Kale joins the defense, trembling at first, until she sees civilians running through the burning streets. Her green ki flares, but this time she fights to protect, not to destroy. Kakarot transforms into Super Saiyan and moves through the battlefield like a golden comet. Every punch saves a life, every blast clears a path. But the enemy keeps coming, and every moment he fights, the ki-draining armor pulls at his strength. He realizes Frieza is not trying to win quickly. Frieza is trying to exhaust them. Then the second part of Frieza's plan begins. Elite soldiers break through the western ridge and attack the evacuation route. In the chaos, one of them seizes young Bardock and rockets toward the sky. Caulifla sees it happen, and her scream shakes the battlefield. Her aura explodes brighter, wilder, more dangerous. Kakarot almost loses control. For one heartbeat, Super Saiyan 3 surges at the edge of his body, begging to be released. But he stops himself. If he burns everything now, Frieza wins. Instead, he vanishes in a sharp burst of speed, appearing above the soldier and crushing the armor's power core with a single strike. Bardock falls, but Kakarot catches him before he hits the ground. The boy clings to him, shaking, furious at himself for being afraid. Kakarot holds him close and says quietly, "Fear doesn't make you weak. Running from it does." Bardock looks up at him, eyes wet but burning, and nods. Frieza finally descends from his flagship, landing beyond the shattered battlefield with cold elegance. His soldiers retreat behind him. He looks at Kakarot, Caulifla, and Kale, with disgust hidden beneath amusement. "How sentimental! Saiyans playing family. I almost prefer you as savages." Kakarot steps forward, golden aura rising. Caulifla moves beside him, lightning flickering around her Super Saiyan 2 form. Kale's green energy burns behind them, unstable but held in check. Frieza studies them carefully. 3 golden anomalies. How troublesome. I suppose I should remove the entire bloodline. The battle begins instantly. Frieza's speed is terrifying, his precision far beyond Child's soldiers. He is not stronger than Super Saiyan 3, but he is smarter than Child, crueler than Child, and prepared. Every time Kakarot powers higher, Frieza's orbiting machines pulse, draining the air of usable ki and forcing the Saiyans to fight under pressure. Kakarot finally unleashes Super Saiyan 3, and the planet trembles beneath him. His golden hair falls down his back, lightning rips through the sky, and Frieza's smile twitches for the first time. Kakarot attacks with overwhelming force, smashing Frieza across the wasteland and through the ruins of Chilled's old landing site. But the form drains him fast. Frieza sees it immediately. He lets Kakarot hit him, lets the Golden Warrior spend power, then counters with surgical cruelty. A death beam cuts across Kakarot's shoulder. A tail strike drives him into the ground. Frieza laughs as the Super Saiyan 3 aura begins to flicker. Caulifla refuses to watch him fall. She launches herself into the fight, striking Frieza from the side with a lightning-charged assault. Kale follows, not as a berserker this time, but as a shield, using her legendary energy to block Frieza's death beams before they reach the colony. For the first time, Kale's monstrous power obeys her heart. Frieza's patience snaps. Rising into the sky, he summons a massive death ball above his finger, its purple light growing until it stains the clouds. "I have seen this story before," he says coldly. "Saiyans gather, Saiyans roar, then Saiyans die." The death ball falls towards Sadala. Kakarot forces himself back to his feet, but his Super Saiyan 3 power is fading. Caulifla grabs his hand, bruised and bleeding, still grinning through the pain. "Then we write a different ending." Together, Kakarot and Caulifla form the Twin Star Cannon. Golden energy spirals between them, his disciplined power and her wild fire twisting into one beam. Kale adds her controlled legendary ki from behind them, wrapping the golden helix in a green outer storm. This time, the attack is not desperation. It is unity. The triple helix beam slams into Frieza's death ball and drives it backward. Frieza pours more power into the attack, screaming in disbelief as the Saiyans push against the same technique that destroyed Planet Vegeta. Kakarot sees Bardock's face in his mind, the father he never knew. And then he sees his son behind him, the future he refuses to lose. With one final roar, Kakarot, Caulifla, and Kale overpower the death ball completely. The beam tears through the sky, engulfs Frieza, and blasts his broken body back into orbit. His flagship is split in half by the shockwave, and the fleet scatters in terror. Frieza does not die. Deep within the wreckage, his ruined body is sealed inside an emergency pod and launched into deep space by his remaining soldiers. As the pod vanishes, Frieza's eyes remain open, burning with hatred. Sadala has survived him, and that humiliation will poison him forever. On the planet below, Kakarot collapses to one knee, exhausted from Super Saiyan 3. Caulifla catches him before he falls, just as she did years ago. This time, Bardock runs to them too, throwing his small arms around both his parents. For a moment, the strongest warriors on Sadala are simply a family holding each other beneath a clearing sky. In the aftermath, Renzo declares that Sadala can no longer remain hidden. Chilled found them. Frieza found them. Others will come. The Saiyans must become more than survivors. They must become protectors of their own future. That night, Kakarot takes Bardock to the cliff and tells him the truth. He tells him about Planet Vegeta, about Frieza, and about the warrior named Bardock who stood alone against a tyrant. The boy listens silently, then asks if his grandfather was strong. Kakarot smiles softly. "Strong enough to send me here." Far away, Frieza's broken pod is recovered by a massive Imperial vessel.
A shadowed figure watches the medical machines begin their work. King Cold stares at the damage done to his son and listens as the last surviving soldiers speak of golden Saiyans on a hidden world. King Cold turns toward the darkness of his command chamber. "Frieza was careless," he says. "Chilled was arrogant. But if the legend has truly returned, then this is no longer a matter for pride." A second figure steps from the shadows, taller, colder, and far more controlled.
Cooler is heard enough. Back on Sadala, Kakarot, Caulifla, Kale, and young Bardock stand beneath the twin suns as the colony trains behind them. They have beaten Chilled. They have survived Frieza. But the universe is finally looking back at them now. And somewhere in the darkness, the next enemy is already coming. Whatever waits beyond the stars, the Saiyans of Sadala will face it together. Not as scattered survivors, not as tools of an empire, but as a family, a people, and a rising force that tyrants can no longer erase.